and welcome to another edition of A Shave and a Song. If you have found this channel or this particular video because you were searching for Grant Lee Buffalo, hold tight. Don't press the stop button yet. Don't press back or next or whatever. This is going to be a little strange than anything you've seen before, maybe. And you know what? For Grant Lee Buffalo fans, this may be just what you're looking for, or it fits right up your alley. This is a show that is about shaving with a straight razor. It started out with me learning how to shave with a straight razor, and it kind of morphed into playing music while I'm also shaving, and maybe introducing you all to some pieces of music that you may not have heard before, or maybe you have heard of the artist before but maybe forgot about. It's normally the stuff that I'm playing is things that aren't necessarily played on the radio or haven't made radio play, but it's still great pieces of music. And so that's what we do here. So I hope you all stick around, hope you enjoy it, and here we go. Going to be shaving today with my Dovo Best Quality Rescaled 6/8. You guys have seen that before. And I'm also using Captain's Choice Bay Rum. I like this scent. It's been a while since I've featured this particular shaving cream on the show. And but I like this. It's a really good scent. As soon as I opened up the jar today, it really, oops, I got a lot in there. A lot, that's probably way too much, way too much. But as soon as you open up the jar, you can really smell it. It's really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and lather it up in my scuttle. Need to add a little bit of water, get that suds going. Maybe add a little more water. Depending on what it is that I'm using, which shaving cream I'm using depends on how much water I have to add to it. Some just take a tiny little bit and some take a whole bunch. This one takes a little bit more, at least what I have found, it takes a little bit more than some of the others that are out there. For instance, the Barrister and Man, or even the Tobacco. Or especially the Art of Shaving creams. They don't take a lot of water at all. But some of the others, like I said, take a bunch. This one, I've added more than I remember ever adding before, but it also lathers a little different. All right, so the tradition here is that we talk about the song. There's 3 passes on a shave, for those of you who are familiar with straight razor shaving. Passes mean lathering and shaving, and so we go down with the grain, then I go up against the grain, and then I go across on the cheeks anyway on the 3rd pass. And on the 1st pass we talk about the song, 2nd pass we listen to it. So we're just about ready to start painting the face. All right. So I'm going to get my face wet and get it ready. I just got out of the shower, so the beard's wet. But I like to get the face a little bit wet. There we go. So, Grant Lee Buffalo. That's what the artist we're going to hear today. The song is called Mockingbirds. I like this smell. This comes from their 2nd album, Mighty Joe Moon, which was released in 1984. I need a little bit more water on this. Released in 1984. Now, interestingly enough, Grant Lee Buffalo is a 3-piece. They sound a lot like Neil Young. They have, 12 strings that are kind of overdriven on the amps a little bit. Nice bass part, pump organs, things like that. So it's a very interesting sound, a lot like like I said, a lot like Neil Young. And I think that's what appeals to me with this particular band. They actually they had another band prior to this in the 80s, which was called Shiva Burlesque. And it was the same three guys. I guess they just weren't having quite the success with Shiva Burlesque that they were hoping for, or with the label they were on. So they reinvented themselves as Grant Lee Buffalo. And they started releasing in the 90s. I think 91 or 92 was their first album, and then this one, Mighty Joe Moon, was the second album released in 94, 93, 94. Okay, so first pass. Some of you may notice that I changed the angle from last week. Normally it's been on this side of the camera. Last week I tried it out on the other side, and being creatures of habit, I just didn't care for it on that side. Closing ceremonies were last night on the Olympics. I hope you all watched it and enjoyed it. I'm out of mirror anti-fog, so I'm gonna have to buy some more of that stuff. Get it at Bed Bath & Beyond. They have some nice spray-on stuff, or they did. I know Grant Lee Buffalo actually released, throughout the 90s, they released 9 videos on MTV. But I don't know, you know, I'm a Gen Xer, and I was there when MTV launched in the 80s, and then when the 90s came out and they started to go with reality TV, with Real World, I think I mentioned this last week, MTV completely lost its relevance with me. And so I don't remember seeing any Grant Lee Buffalo videos on MTV, but to be honest, I probably wasn't watching MTV. It wasn't until 15 years later, maybe? Well, no. Probably 10 years later, if this video was released in 94, probably 2005, 2000, well, it might have, you know what? Boy, time flies. It probably was 2011 or so that I actually came across this video on YouTube. But I had been listening to Grant Lee Buffalo since '94. the very first time I heard this band and this particular song was back in the 90s, early and mid 90s, you know, so around 94 I was actually working in a record store, and I know records were sort of on their way out, vinyl records were on their way out at that particular point in time in favor for CDs and cassettes. Cassettes had been around a while, but CDs were still fairly new. And so I was working, I'm going to wash the face, working in a record store. And keep in mind this was before MP3 players, so portable CD players were the big thing back then. You know, if you put them in your car, they had the anti-skip mechanism built in. But anyway, we would from time to time receive promotional CDs in, you know, from artists, especially newer artists, and so they would send us some promotional CDs to listen to, evaluate, maybe play on this in-store music system, see how the customers liked them. And so this particular album or CD came in, and we gave it a go, and you know, not many people really cared for it. I did. I really liked it. But again, I think it's because I really was a big fan of Neil Young. And so I was really taken to this band. And so they would play the CD in store for a while, you know, a couple of months, and then you got to, they would send the CD home with one of the employees. And since I was the only store employee who wanted this particular CD, I didn't have to fight for it or do a competition for it. They just said, here, take it. And so I took it home, and it was very, very quickly added to my list of CDs. It made the CD rotation. And again, remember in those days, CD rotation, you had to bring all your CDs with you in the car, and you just, what a day, huh? So Mockingbirds is what we're going to hear today. Mockingbirds is about it's a song about star-crossed lovers, kind of Romeo and Juliet, only didn't work out so well for Romeo in this particular song. The relationship starts out really good, and then as you listen to the words, it sounds like one of them assumes a lot of power and starts to dominate the other one in the relationship, and so the one who's being dominated feels caged and locked up and oppressed. And even the video really really kind of subtly brings that home, with the band playing inside a giant bird cage. I'm going to go up. So anyway, the first verse is devastation. I'm going to read it here. Devastation at last, finally we meet. After all these years out here on the street, I had a feeling you would make yourself known. You came along just to claim your place on the throne, and I have been overthrown. So that's the first verse, kind of sets the tune, sets the stage for the rest of the song. So as I get ready to go on my up pass, I kind of shaved down here. I wanted to go up. Let's listen to Grant Lee Buffalo, Mockingbirds.
Devastation at last, finally we meet. After all of these years out here on the street, I had a feeling you would make yourself known. You came along just to claim your place on the throne. Now I've been overthrown, overthrown. And I thought if I do the right lines, but these mockingbirds won't let me shine. Devastation, my door was left open wide. You brought me into your heart and swallowed my pride. last reveille. Woke from a dream where I was in a terrible realm. All my sails were ablaze, I was chained to the helm. Now overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed. And I thought if I took the right lines, but these mocking words won't let me shine. And I thought if I took the right lines, but these mocking words won't let me shine. And I thought if I took the right lines, but these mocking words won't let me shine. And I thought if I took the right lines, but these mocking words won't let me shine. And I thought if I took the right lines, but these mocking words
I like that. And I thought if I towed the right lines, but these mockingbirds. Like the song. How about you? I hope you enjoyed it. From 1984, Mighty Joe Young, Buffalo, Grant Lee Buffalo. I almost said Buffalo Springfield for some reason, huh? Grant Lee Buffalo, Mockingbirds. I hope you'll check it out. Check out the video. They have some. They have a great video on this particular song, and they actually have some really, really good pieces of music that are out there. It's just one of those bands that, you know, the roll of the dice. Some bands go really far, some bands don't. But that doesn't mean their music's no good. It just means that the music business is a business, and you know. But like anything else, Grant Lee Buffalo has a nice following base even to this day, and their fans are really loyal. They really like them. They're not together anymore, but people still like their music. I guess that's what I really enjoy about YouTube, or even, you know, SoundCloud, or some of the other mediums out there, is you can really get introduced to some underrated artists or artists that you've never heard of before, who have great music out there. Of course, there's also some really horrible stuff out there on YouTube, but I'm so glad that it's come along, and so I don't have to be told what I should be listening to. I can actually discover for myself some of the great pieces of music out there that will never be played on the commercial side. Shaves are getting really good. All right, there we go, my friends. I would say in the last week, I have finally, after over 100 shaves, I have accomplished some what they call baby butt smooth shaves. The mirror's a little foggy. Gotta go get some more anti-fog spray. This just isn't convenient. Okay, so as you know, after the shave, I always clean the razor and then strop it. You don't see me strop, but I do 10 times on the cloth, 10 times on the leather, just before I put it away. But before I do that, I always give it kind of a wipe down with some alcohol and a cotton swab. Make sure I've removed any little bits of shaving cream, but also, kind of disinfect it as well. Now let that aside to dry, and we'll go with the Bay Rum by Captain's Choice Aftershave. This is a great aftershave. The Captain's Choice, this particular flavor, I like. I always like to give myself a little facial massage. I know some guys just kind of slap it on and they're done, but I like to just kind of rub it in, and I just enjoy the whole experience. I think it was a couple of days ago after I had finished shaving, I looked in the mirror and I said, I really enjoy shaving. And I do. I really do. There we go. Massage is done. And now it's time to clean up, put everything away, and then I'll finish it off a little bit later with some Panade Clubman. Love that talc. Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's A Song and a Shave. Grant Lee Buffalo from 1994, Mighty Joe Moon. The song, Mockingbirds. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your music, whether it be iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever. Check it out, give the band a listen. Great band. And until then, next time, live life. Enjoy shaving, everyone. I'll see you.